up. How about that on 4th and inches?
Rudy Carpenter now on the right to a guest sign. Rudy, when you saw 4th and 1, they're on their own 35 early in that game. I know it was inches, and they called this play that just I think everybody just was scratch your head why they were going for it. What was your thought process when they were doing that?
Well, probably a little bit of the same as everybody else. But at the end of the day, Kenny Dillingham, I think he preached to his team all year long, all week, that we didn't come this far just to come this far. We came to win. And to me, there's no better way to inject confidence into your team than by showing them that you believed in them early in a game like that with a situation like that.
Rudy, obviously a huge win, a Big 12 championship. How your phone just going off? I mean, you being a former player, I'm sure this has kind of brought the Sun Devil Nation together with this run.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, yeah, the number of phone calls that I've gotten just from neighbors and friends and everybody in general, just, man, this Sun Devil team is unbelievable. What an incredible run. I can't believe they're going to the playoffs. But the other crazy thing to me is the number of phone calls and text messages that I've gotten from people inside the business. A lot of, coaches, especially college coaches from all around the country who, have obviously been paying attention to this season and have been paying attention to ASU. And they really just can't believe that, Kenny Dillingham and this coaching staff was able to get as much mileage out of this team as they have.
Is that the main thing, that he could get this kind of mileage out of this team, or what has been the constant from these coaches or other people you're talking to, Rudy, that they see on a regular basis to be able to have that constant and move this far?
I don't know. Everybody has their own opinions as to why things happen or, whatever, but I'll just speak for myself. I just think that, Kenny and Charlie Regal and Sean Aguano and Jason Mons and the entire defensive side of the ball, I just think that all of those guys have done an amazing, amazing job with this football team. And I think that the X's and O's matter. I think that the scheme matters. I think that the personnel matters. But I'll just give one example as to why I believe that this team has been able to do what they've been able to do, and I think can continue to do so. And it doesn't really have a lot to do with football. Today is the first day that the transfer portal is technically opened, and you have all kinds of kids from all over the place entering the portal, and they're doing that for whatever reasons they have. And there's a lot of coaches out there who are upset. There's a lot of fans who are out there who are upset about guys entering the portal. But one of the things that you see from this coaching staff and Kenny Dillingham is every time one of his guys enters the portal, he's one of the very first guys on Twitter retweeting those posts that those kids make, and he's trying to help those kids. He's saying, hey, we love that you were here. Essentially, sorry it didn't work out. This guy can really play. If you're a college out there, bring this kid in for a visit. If you're a school out there, offer this kid a scholarship. This guy's a really good player. And I know that might sound backwards, but when you're in an era of that going on, when you play for a coach that genuinely has your best interest at heart, and he genuinely wants you to do well and genuinely wants what's best for you, I just think that as a player, you have a little bit of extra juice to give somebody like that.
Rudy Carpenter is our guest on the right Toyota guest line. Rudy, the transfer portal, with all of its problems and kids just going in and going pretty much from school to school to school, what it has done, it has changed teams' dynamics almost overnight. And ASU is a perfect example of that. They went from worst to first by utilizing the transfer portal.
Yeah, without a doubt, it's no different than the NFL free agency, right? I mean, it gives you a real opportunity to be able to, make an incredible change overnight. You can literally be one of the worst teams in the country, and with the right coaching staff and the right kids out of the transfer portal, you can make some really big waves. And ASU, there's no better example. ASU is a great example. The University of Colorado is a great example. I think that maybe the best example outside of ASU is the University of Indiana. Coach Signetti there brought, I believe, 25 players from James Madison, where he was the coach before. I believe he brought 25 of those guys to the University of Indiana with him. And, we all saw what they did this year. So, yeah, I mean, I get it. Old school people out there complain. They don't like it. What about loyalty? What about this? These are it is what it is. You look at a guy like Bronco Mendenhall. Guy coached 1 year this year at New Mexico and takes off for Utah State. Coaches have been doing this for many, 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 many years. I don't have a problem with the kids doing it.
And you look at this team overall, you look at Sam Levitt, 12 for 17, extremely effective these last few games, Rudy. Just watching him and the progress as far as throwing the ball, keeping his calm for redshirt freshman. You believe this young man is an old soul or somewhat mature beyond his years?
He could be one of those, right? I don't really know. What I do know when you listen to Kenny is that the kid's coachable. He makes good decisions with the football. He throws with good accuracy. His anticipation is getting better and better and better. One thing that you see for sure when you watch that kid play is his competitive spirit. He's got a really great competitive spirit. He competes his butt off. You can tell he's a tough kid, both mentally and physically. If you saw him after the game, his older brother, Dallin, was just so pumped, hyping him up and giving him 1,000 high fives and hugs and shaking him. And you can just tell that those two boys have grown up their whole life. With the dream of chasing a championship like that and going to the NFL. And I think for Sam, that's one of the great advantages he has. His brother was a good college player and was a good special teams player in the NFL for, 3 or 4 years, 5 years, whatever he played in the NFL for the Green Bay Packers and I think another team. And from what I know and what I think is true, his dad was also a player, I believe, in college. And in my viewpoint, when you're a legacy kid like that, when you've, been around it your entire life and it almost becomes the expectation for you that that's where you're going to end up and that's the level you're going to play at, I think that it makes it a little bit easier. The lights aren't too big. The situation isn't too big for you. It's just something you've always been around and something that, was kind of just an expectation for you.
Rudy, the coaching staff, do you think that people will try to cherry pick from that coaching staff? Or do you think that they are all very comfortable right now with Kenny Dillingham and what ASU is doing?
Well, I think those are two different things, right? I think that the coaching staff at ASU and all the guys that coach under Kenny and coach with Kenny, I think all of those guys are very, very happy about where ASU is and how the program is moving. I think they're all very happy with working for Kenny. We've all seen the stories of Kenny donating, his bonuses to people that are off the field workers. We've seen how hard he fights for his coordinators to get contract extensions and pay raises. And we can only assume he's fighting that hard to get his position coaches extensions and pay raises as well, right? I think all of that is awesome, and it's something we can see. But at the end of the day, when you have a winning program and you're playing well at every single position like they are, and you're finding ways to do it regardless of who gets hurt or who goes down or what happens, there's going to be other coaching staffs out there, other programs out there who are going to look at this staff and say, who is it that we can poach? I mean, Charlie Regal at one point in time was the head coach at Idaho State. You know, when someone comes to you with a bag full of money and it's much more than what you're making now, it's really, really, really hard to turn that down, especially when that money, it's going to make it so your kids and their grandkids probably live a pretty good life. So I would imagine that there are going to be some programs coming after these coaches. I would imagine that already people are coming after Kenny. I would imagine if he has another great year next year, the big schools, the USCs, the Ohio State, those types of schools are going to be all over Kenny as well. And ASU is going to have to figure it out. And we'll see if this really is Kenny's dream job. But for right now, I believe it is.
He's Rudy Carpenter, joins us every Monday here on Rock Manooch with Jimmy B. Appreciate you, man. Thanks. Great stuff as always. Have a good week.
See you guys.
That's Rudy Carpenter joining us as he's brought to you by All City Towing. Join the team at the largest towing company in the state. They're based in Tempe, All City Towing. They are hiring. Start off the 25 season with a new career. So if you're ready to take your career to the next level, then visit them online at allcitytowing.com. That's All City Towing, where your future is on the move. Coming up, we wrap up Week 14 in the NFL as the Jets make history. Yeah, and Eagles, Barkley.